Derek Bertubin, week 4, Java 2, term 1308, and we're working with fragments. And this is probably the 18th recording of this video, just to get it right. So, with that being said, I'll jump right into the code. The code is actually very fun this week. Basically, what we did is we chopped up everything we did in the main activity and also the favorites activity, and we separated the UI elements into the form fragments, or the actual fragments. This one's called form fragment. That coincides with the main Java activity, or the main activity. And here, what we do is we create an interface that has a listener, and this interface allows us to do just that, interface with the main activity. And likewise here, we create a listener, which on this passes when we select an actual favorite, and this favorite will be a string file from a list view. And then what it will do in portrait mode, what it'll do is it'll basically pass that zip code string over into the main activity and populate the edit text field so that you can work and select whatever you need to work with. So that was beautifully done. It was what fragments does, and this is going into the talking points of the video, which is how I feel about fragments and how they enhance the application, the power of the app, is basically this. When we were using, well, that's upside down. When we were using the app before, I can't click there. Basically, we only had landscape view, and then if we switched over, or we had only portrait mode, and when we switched over to landscape, all it did was kind of basically just move it into landscape. Nothing too powerful. But in this case, what it allows us to do is basically combine the powers of two activities into one. And for this case, let's see. Wow, look at that. Now I have my favorites, and then I can actually view those. Now this also gets into what I would have done differently, is figure out how to arrange these views better, maybe using a relative view, so that I could display everything. Because now, if we notice, there's some buttons cut off that actually isn't visible in the portrait view. So, but yeah, it does enhance. It does give the user a better user experience. This is also only if they know that there is that additional ability within that landscape orientation. But I think fragments can be used other ways, such as, let's say, instead of going into a separate activity for the forecast, basically creating a fragment for specifically the forecast, and maybe just creating a separate just one view, and then tying together those fragments based on different XML layouts, and just displaying them maybe even in the current main activity, instead of actually having to go out into a new view. But overall, it does enhance the power of the app tremendously by allowing you to combine powers of multiple activities into one actual view. And this is good. This actually will allow you to save from coding separate activities a lot of times. Creating, you don't really have to create too many XML layouts and linear layouts, because you've created them once, and then you can add them in different ways. So I definitely like it. The code basically is straightforward. I do have the two main activities, two fragments to coincide with those. I have 4 XMLs, and then also the alternate landscape form fragment XML, so a total of 5. Actually, I have a little bit more than that. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 XML files. I do account for pretty much in this assignment, and it was very fun. One thing, I will go into my struggle for this week, and believe me, it was me banging my head on the wall for a good 2 days. I'd written in the interface, basically here, I wanted to write, where's it at here, get faves. There is a method here, a public method, that says get faves, and basically what it does is it reads what is written in a certain file in this faves array. And I wanted to do that in my favorites activity, and then have the favorite fragment use the interface to run the method and then pass back an array and then populate the array with the data. Well, I was running into some issues, and actually this fixed both an issue that I had last week, but it ultimately fixed a lot of things this week. And since I do this in the very beginning, I might as well share the data that I've created in the main activity and use it once. And so what I do is I make sure that I have a public static array list, and then when I get into the favorites fragment, to populate or to assign the values of this favorite array list, which is declared up here, a list of strings, I can then go over to the main activity and then call that public array list, and then I can pass the values into the array adapter, and voila, that was my missing issue. Now that, if anything, would be needed to be explained a little bit better. How to use the interface to pass over the array list and not get a null pointer, because that's what I was getting. That was killing the actual view from being displayed and inflated, and I don't even understand that fully of how to maybe try a try catch. That may have been something that I could have done. Now that I'm thinking of it, I probably should have, but that's it. So I'll tell you, I love this class. It was a very good class, and I'm looking forward to the next one. And thanks to everybody who helped out, Sherry, Josh, everyone. This has been great, and see you guys soon.